Hey guys, I'm running exactly 1 minute late. It's so funny that someone's like, "It's 1 minute after, she's running late." I'm glad I'm so punctual normally, but I am running a little bit late. Just trying to get some things set up here. Let me know if you can hear me. Very important that you can hear me, so let me know in the chat, which would be awesome. Which would be awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me just getting into the back end so that I can actually get to the chapters, which is good. Great. You can all hear me. Great. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am so glad you can all hear me. Yay. How's everyone doing? Gonna open the Diet Coke here. Got to do some ASMR sound things. Here, hold on. Perfect. That perfect sound, man. Oh. Okay. Hi, David. Hi, David. He's from Los Angeles. I love hearing where you guys are from. I know it is the lovely sound, isn't it? It's Robbie, it's just like the perfect sound. I am doing pretty good. This has been a few crazy weeks. It's like been a month of crazy weeks. Tara, tea is water gone wrong. Me and Raythe are all about that. Oh, Mew wants to get into my lap. Well, come on, get up here. They want to all hear you. They do. It's been a little bit crazy since mid-March to now. So those of you who are members, just know that this Friday chapters are going to Sundays. I might be adjusting the schedule altogether to have it go Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday again. Things happen where I have basically I don't know what you would call it, but obligations that come up where I'm like, it doesn't quite give me enough time, I feel, to do the quality work I want to do on a certain date. So I'll move it something over a couple days. So it's always good. It's always good. So yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm also working on a big project, which you shall find out about next week. Members will find out about it earlier, but next week I hope you guys will come for a live stream at 2:00 again. It is, I cannot wait to share it with you. I am so excited. I am so very, very excited. It's going to be a big deal. So you can hear Mew Mew, Robbie. Good. You can hear her. She's now on by my shoulder. I don't know if she'll actually get on my lap, which will be good. Yeah. Like, oh, hey, Breyer. How are we going? Anything? I always think that people have to sometimes refresh, because when I actually go live, I think the whole thing, I don't know, it's a placeholder. So, what do we got here? Lefu, a member who is an incredible artist, just finished drawing a gorgeous fan art of Khoth and Chili for you. Oh my God. Yay. I can't wait. I want to see it. That's gonna be awesome. How are my allergies today, David? I don't know. I feel a little. The weather has been beautiful. It's actually been, far warmer than it normally is. So it's been going up and down though. And it's been rain, so it's always interesting. But I hope it'll be all right. I've been having, like I said, yes. So a big project. I've been doing a lot of recording, and a lot of things are happening. So it's very exciting. It's just very exciting. I've got to just keep my powder dry until next week. And then members should know, I think on Friday. Yeah, I think Friday will be the day when members will know. And they will have a big surprise. And everyone else will too, but this is going to be good. Sweet. I'm I'm glad you could make it, Crimson Sorcerer. Friday, yes, Friday, something big. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had something to tell you, and it's like all like going into the. Oh yes, let me just do a few announcements, so that people know what's going on. Everdark Volume 7 came out last month, so please, if you wish, get your copy and/or sign up for Raythe Rain, and you can listen to the whole thing. Something, so that was like really awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting it. I was having such a blast writing messages to people in the hardcovers who have literally bought every single hardcover, and I was like, I feel like I personally am speaking to them now in these messages. I'm like, oh my god, can you believe we're here? So I just especially finished Everdark Academy, which is the sequel to Everdark, where it basically at the same time that ED7 came out. So it's really cool. Next month, there's something very exciting happening this month, but I can't tell you yet. But next month, Everdark Equinox is going to start. So that is going to be awesome. And when you see the art for that, you are going to be blown away. I mean, I'm telling you, the sexiest theme ever. I don't know if you've noticed, but like, so Everdark was like black and red as its theme. Everdark Academy has been more blue and red. Everdark Equinox is white and black and red. So it is spectacular. Mathia has outdone herself, as they do, and I am so amazed at what they are doing. We also are going to do something very special as we're coming to the end of Everdark in terms of a beautiful special edition 3-volume hardcover with new art and a lot of other stuff that we're doing. So we're going to do that, and it's going to have foil on the outside of for the image. So I'm really, and I wanted, I'm, it's going to be spectacular. It's going to be ridiculously expensive too. I'm so sorry about that. It's just our cost is ridiculous. But for those of you who want to indulge, can indulge, could get it as a gift, it's going to be amazing. We're really trying to do something incredibly special to honor the Everdark, coming to a close, which I can't believe it's going to come to a close. I was working on volume 8 today, and I just can't even believe it. And there's just 2 left, so it's crazy. But I'm telling you right now, EDE is going to be Everdark Equinox. Is going to be, I think it's going to be the best serial yet. I could be wrong though. It's all based on what's come before it though, but I really feel like I'm so excited to explore the world in this way. So it's going to be awesome. It's coming. Maybe I don't know. Should I? No, I'm going to do it as a reveal. Oh, I don't know. Because I could share it with you because you guys are here. Hold on a second here. Let me see. This is always so interesting because they've completely changed the back end here, which is like, I know you want to see it. I know. I'm just looking to see if this is really, really weird because it doesn't even seem to. Oh, wait. Will it let me just share it? Hold on. Yeah, I think I should be able to share it. All right. I might be doing something naughty. It's not naughty. It's really cool. Hold on a second here. Let me just see if I can do this. Okay. Yeah, I think I can do this. Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to share screen. Select a tab to share. Let's see. All right, are you ready? You're going to see it first. It's going to be up for a very brief moment. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I don't think I'm able to like drag to move. Yeah. So there's stuff to come here. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I like this. I like this reaction. I think that's pretty accurate. Yes. That is K-Morn. K-Morn gets a love interest in the next serial. So for next it's going to be pretty spectacular. That is your man K-Morn. Yes, that is. And notice it's white and red. Yeah, I know, right? It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. I let Mathia change his hairstyles as much as she likes. So there we go. Yeah, the white is spectacular. So it's going to be that's going to be the theme for this new series. It's going to be white. Cuz white in some cultures represents death, which makes sense considering who K-Morn is, which I'm not going to say anything because those of you who are still listening to the public podcast and have not gotten ahead. You can actually find out who K-Morn's love interest is by reading the summary of Everdark Equinox. Yeah. I mean, it's really something. It's something else. So like I said, Mathia outdid themselves, and I am spectacularly happy with it. So it's just like, yeah. So this is pretty amazing. I mean, I'm really thrilled with it. And I cannot wait to start it. But I have this idea in my head exactly as it will go. I'm not quite sure which point of view I will start with first. I think it's going to be with Nick, but I'm not sure. You missed a lot there. You missed a lot. So yeah, Everdark Equinox is starting next month. So just I'll put in a little plug. If you are thinking of basically starting Raythe Rain, now is a great time to do it because of all of this stuff that's happening. We're having just some spectacular things that are going to happen starting next week. And then we have Everdark Equinox starting the next month. So it is like a good time to be a Raythe Rain member. Trust me, it is a very good time. You are going to get a lot of cool stuff. It's going to be real good. All right. I'm going to when I go over to read, I'll stop screen sharing. Yeah. It's always I love that. I love that, man. It's always a good time to be an RR member. I love it. Yeah, we're just doing like to be honest with you, we're just in this year. So as many of you know, my mom passed away last year and I purchased a rather dilapidated house and I am literally doing it up. So as I am building, I am, I did a very how shall I say it? extensive a launch schedule this year so that I can encourage all of you, if you can, to join up, and also just to have some very cool ass things to really thank everybody for being a part of it. A part of it. I mean, any one of you who's listened, who's been a member, who's purchased a book. I mean, you've just really made a significant bit of difference in all of our lives. So, yeah, I know, right? It's just like, oh God, yeah, it's pretty. I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled about everything, and I know, brief short view. I've kept it up for a while, so I should take it down. Um, I should take it down. All right, we're gonna take it down. All right, there we go. Right, David? So, to fund to try to make sure that I have windows and something other than, you know, lawn furniture. We're doing some, yeah, some stuff. We're doing some stuff. But more than that, we've really, I don't know, we're taking on some really uh projects that are incredibly ambitious, and I'm very excited about that. I always feel like, if we're not moving forward, if we're not doing something new, if we're not trying something that puts us out of our comfort zone, we're not moving forward. Does that make sense? So I always feel like, I always want to be moving towards that next thing, that, and making the membership that much more valuable for people. I think now that we've added this audio component, a lot of people have joined for audio, so we're really extending the audio that we're doing, which is, which I think we're let's put it this way, we've brought in somebody now to edit night prints for me so that I can free up Kat, and this person is an incredible, um, how shall I say? This person is a real professional. Like, I know this sounds crazy. Obviously, through her Grace Reads, those are all professionals, but we've never had an in-house person to do our own audio. Now we do. They are redoing the beginning of Night Prince. I'm re-recording and they're redoing, so that's gonna be even a better quality. And we're going to be starting with a lot of that. So we're getting everything put in place, I guess I would say. And then we have this next big thing that's coming up next week, which you'll see what we're doing next. So that's a really big, um, yes, Crystal, but I can't tell you what it is yet. Just wait. Okay. It's coming. So, yeah, yeah, I just can't speak on that, but let's put it this way. There's like just a lot of stuff that's going to happen that I think is going to make you guys really happy. I hope. And I feel like, again, we're doing something new, we're doing something cool, we're doing something, awesome. I will have Kat let them know. Lily, I so appreciate that. I can't wait. Somebody ordered all 7 at once, and I was like, "Oh my god." I actually had to buy, this was so cool. This was so freaking cool. I had to buy bigger boxes so that I could have, like, nice boxes to send out more books in. Like, right now, I have a box that will fit all 7, but now we need a box that will fit all 9. So that's gonna be something else. And then potentially with this, like I said, like, having foil covers and, a larger format. So that's gonna be really interesting. No, serious, I'm still reading the Night Prince. This is the person that's mastering the audio. I'm still reading the Night Prince. So that's not changing. Yes, the Raythe Rain Empire grows. Thank you, Crimson Sorcerer. No, yeah. So just so that makes sense, I've hired someone literally to do the mastering, so it's better quality. It's still me. I'm not giving up. I'm literally in the new house. I'm having something put together so I have my own little studio to be recording. So legitimately, we are going to be recording. I'm going to be recording a lot. Okay. Yeah, I know foil covers are beautiful. The audio has been super helpful. As someone whose energy is mostly depleted every day and just want to close my eyes as soon as possible, I am still super behind though. I love it. No, because I spend so much time in front of a computer, I listen to audiobooks because I can't read anymore. Plus my vision is not good. I need to get glasses, man. We have tried to do visual novels, and we started, but the amount of time it took is just, ugh. I'm not saying we're not going to do it. We are going to do something. We'll see something, but that's not what that is. So it's just, I should say, I don't want to say more of the same, but it's like an extra cool thing. So very cool. Okay. So, Lily, I am so excited for the next chapter of the Night Prince 2. Just as a reminder to all members, the Friday chapters are on Sundays right now. I'm going to, I think, redo the schedule next month. I don't know. I have to double check if my life is going to be insane, so I have to keep doing that. So I hate doing that, but it's better. I will not put out crap chapters. So that's how that goes. I'm very excited for Night Prince. And we're going to have a slight delay in Night Prince audio as the new person is mastering, because they have not yet gotten to 20 to 24, which I just recorded. They were starting at the beginning. So, and we're just getting them really onboarded. So it's going to be a bit of delay, but next month it will not be a delay and you will not care. Let's put it this way. Not that you won't care, but you will have other things to enjoy while we wait on that. Okay. All right. Let us start the chapters. So for those of you who have never been with us before or, don't know how this works, I read 2 of the chapters from Empire of Stars. Any sexy bits, even kissing, I have to not do. Unfortunately, YouTube is like, no, no, no. We actually found some stuff that was still in Everdark, which was sexy times. And I'm like, oh my God, get that out of there now. Because we could get a strike, which we've gotten before. So just know that if I do come up against a sexy chapter, I'm just going to not have to read it here. I might have to I read it separately and I post it on raythe.com. So, but we just can't do it here. I will read the chapter normally in a couple parts. You guys can comment while I'm reading. I'm obviously not going to see the comments while I'm reading, but I will look at them when I'm done. And it will be all good. It will be all good. Yeah. All right. Wait, I must answer this question because it's highly important. Now that I think about it, who is the real emperor here, Mew or Raythe? Mew. It's Mew. That's not even a question. Okay. All right. Cersei, there's just so much to come. I feel like honestly, every month we are gonna have something crazy between now and the end of the year. So it's pretty crazy. All right. I love you guys all. Let's start with chapter 112. Chapter 112. Traitor. The goo was warm, which sort of made it worse. Jace had stripped out of his hard and soft suits. He was quite naked. Davies and Dr. Lefray had left the core. Only Khoth, Gehenna, and the Osiris remained. Khoth had urged both Davies and the doctor to go back about their usual business, but to keep their eyes and ears open, or in the case of Dr. Lefray, her mind's eye. We need to ensure this is kept secret, Khoth had said. Both of your absences will be noted. You must return to your duties, Lieutenant Commander, and you, Dr. Lefray, to your people. Davies nodded, but reluctantly. It was clear he wanted to stay and protect Jace, which Jace found endearing. There's no danger you can save me from in here, Davies, Jace called over. The past is a bit out of your purview. If you need something, Davies began, then we will contact you, Khoth assured him. Mew, I will make sure my people are well. They already know to be silent about our visions, Dr. Lefray said. Jace remembered all too well how badly Khoth had taken the news. I'm sure. Please feel free to look around the ship. Perhaps you can give them a tour, Davies. I'm afraid my head wouldn't be on straight for that, but I'll arrange for something, Davies promised. Jace nodded. I'm sure. Davies then turned to leave, but stopped and looked back over his shoulder at Jace. After this, there's something I need to tell you both, though I hear it is not a surprise. At first, Jace didn't know what he meant, but then understanding had dawned. He'd long gotten past Davies beginning his time on the Osiris as a spy, but he had already proven himself a loyal member of the crew. We will be ready to listen when you are ready to speak, Khoth answered for them both. Davies gave a tight nod and then turned expertly on his heel to leave the core. Dr. Lefray followed after him, her tail curled up into a U shape. I touched your tail, Gehenna said quietly as soon as the door was closed. Jace's head snapped towards her. You did? With her permission? Or that's just as bad, I suppose, as doing it surreptitiously, unless you didn't get caught. Gehenna rolled back and forth shyly. I asked because I was caught. Gehenna! Jace laughed. I admit I had the hardest time not petting her. While my sensors are not as sensitive as your skin, yet more so in other ways, I can report that she is even softer than she looks, Gehenna told him. Oh man, now it's going to be even harder to resist petting her. And Khoth has informed me that he will not be second in my love, while I am second in his love of chili, Jace joked. Chili is exceptional. Dr. Lefray, while an interesting person and incomparable scholar, does not compare. Khoth replied dryly. Gehenna wheeled over to Jace and said conspiratorially, Don't you worry, Jace. I'll pet Dr. Lefray and share the experience with you when this is all over. Jace grinned while Khoth merely shook his head. Internally, Jace was just glad about the lightness between the three of them. They could still joke, even when things were dire. He glanced over at the wall, and to his surprise and amusement, the Osiris had put a single cat emoji head with hearts for eyes. It quickly disappeared as if it had never been there at all. I saw that, Osiris. Now Jace was ankle deep in the pool of warm goo. The tentacles, he knew they were not tentacles, but connectors to the ports in his body, was slithering under the goo, eager for him to connect. But they were keeping a respectful distance. Jace went down the next few steps until he was waist deep. Keeping his hands above the surface of the goo, he walked gingerly towards the middle of the tank. This time, he would lay back in the goo and the tentacles would enter his ports with permission. When he got to the center, he turned around to face Gehenna and Khoth. The Thafel was standing at the edge of the pool, arms crossed, expression grim, until he caught Jace looking at him and relaxed into a convincing smile. You're worried about this too. You're not alone. Except I'm just worried that it won't work. So, Gehenna, walk me through this again, Jace requested. She rolled over beside Khoth. It's going to be really simple. As soon as you're plugged in, you allow our connection to fully connect. You know, you let me in instead of keeping me at arm's length. I'm only doing that to keep you safe. I can't lose you too, Gehenna, he told her. She whirled around in a circle. Thank you, Jace. I love you too. Absolutely. Right back at you, Jace said. Knowing that she had been an Altaith, a living Altaith, who had put together this whole project, still floored him. But she was also still Gehenna, his Gehenna, the one who adored Smileys a little too much and misunderstood human popular culture in her quest to be a protector. While he had some idea that she hammed it up a bit to make people laugh, there was this joy and light about her and interacting with the world that he found hard to square with the woman who had been so despairing after losing her family that she'd killed herself. If that's what happened, he wondered if he would find out. Okay. Oh, it's her, actually. Okay, so here she began rolling back and forth like a little general. Once we are connected, we're going to get past the defenses that were set up in the rogue AI in order to stop you from truly accessing and undoing the damage. These defenses will likely appear to you like normal baddies. You know, people with weapons, or even cool, Hard to say what your mind will turn them into. You and I will be able to defeat them. No worries. Then, once we get to the rogue AI's core, we will be able to downgrade you to the Osiris. Again, this will likely appear as some sort of challenge or task from the past. We'll see. Jace glanced over at the wall again. He doubted the Osiris approved of the description downgrade, and he didn't feel that way at all. The Osiris was the only other AI he wanted in his head. After that, we will be able to upgrade the Osiris to have all the capabilities of the complete pilot program rather than simply the test format that it is currently in, kind of finished. But will it change the Osiris? I mean, I don't want the Osiris to be overwritten. I want it to be as it wants to be. Jace flapped his arms. You know what I mean. I do, Gehenna said. You will be completely in control of that, Jace. The only parts of the Osiris that will change will be the ones you choose. Well, and it chooses, Jace corrected her. If you give the Osiris that choice, yes. I admit that such capabilities were not, the Osiris was designed to be a tool, not a companion, Gehenna admitted. But it's become more than its programming. I mean, I'm pretty sure you couldn't know that all of this would happen, Jace said as he gestured to himself and around them generally. No, I don't think the person I was copied from could see very far ahead at all, Gehenna said. Jace noted how Gehenna was very careful to differentiate herself from Tilan. Was that because she felt different from the program creator, or was it because she thought he would think her different? The latter was more accurate, but it also felt like he was denying Gehenna her humanity, or Altaithness, or whatever. But Gehenna was her own person. She might have started with Tilan's personality and at least some of her abilities and memories, but she was different from Tilan too. Her own life experiences had changed her. All right, I guess I'm good to go. How long will it take? Jace asked, more for Khoth than for himself. Not long at all, Gehenna assured him. Not more than 60 Earth minutes, I shouldn't think. That's fast, Jace said. It might feel longer for us, though, but that's the thing about the mind. It doesn't really work in the same way. You know how a 30-second dream can seem like it lasts forever? Gehenna asked. Oh. Don't worry, Jace. I'm sure it won't seem that long, Gehenna assured him, though he wondered if she was shading the truth there a little bit. Well, however long it takes, it takes. Jace shrugged and tried to seem nonchalant about it. He found himself shuffling over towards Khoth, though, and reaching up for his beloved. Khoth crouched down. Izael, be safe, Khoth said. Jace cupped his face and then got up on tiptoes for a kiss. I'll be back soon, I promise. I love you. And I love you, heart of my heart, Khoth said. Finally, Jace forced himself to break away and shuffle back towards the center of the pool. Let's do this thing, Jace said. The tentacles wound up his legs and started inserting themselves into his flesh as he slowly allowed himself to lean back into the goo, which allowed him to float quite easily. Then the mouthpiece covered his nose and mouth. Cold, dry air flooded his skin, and the tentacles pulled him under the goo. Jace shut his eyes as they did so. Let me in, Jace, Gehenna requested. It sounded as if she were yelling those words from a far distance, but he heard it and took down the walls he had used to keep her at a distance. He thought he heard a sharp intake of breath as Gehenna's mind was pressed tightly against his own, warm and loving. Okay, time to start, Gehenna said. Jace didn't have a chance to respond, for almost immediately his eyelids flew open and he drew in a deep breath. But there was no cold, dry air from the system that was keeping him oxygenated. No, the air was warm and a little moist. The smell was somehow familiar. Thasia, he realized. That's what this place smells like. Yes, we're in Thasia, in the research compound, level 7, Gehenna agreed. Okay, well, this is cool. Holy crap, who is that? A woman was staring at him not 6 inches away. He stumbled back, and so did she. He widened his eyes, and so did she. He lifted a hand up to his face to touch the wetness he felt there, and so did she. Is that Tilan? Gehenna breathed. Oh, wow. She was pretty. He realized that he was staring at himself in a mirror, yet it wasn't his face. It was Tilan's face. It was heart-shaped, with pointed ears that were framed by short, white blonde hair. She had overly large green eyes with massive black pupils and a small pert nose with narrow nasal passages. He drew her hand down his throat that was long and rather delicate. Her shoulder blades were quite prominent. He nearly jumped when he accidentally brushed a hand over his breasts. They were small, the size of apples, and covered in a sleek, gray, form fitting tunic on top of dark green leggings and black ankle boots. He was willowy and stood about close to 5'7" or 8 inches tall. Elfish, Jace thought. Sprightly, pretty, cute, delicate. Yes, Gehenna agreed. None of these words would have been used to describe himself, but those words described the face covered in water staring back at him. Sun-kissed skin, 2 arms, 2 legs, all the other right parts on the outside, Jace listed off. I can see how the Altaith fit into human society when they crashed on Earth. Yes, I can see that too, Gehenna enthused, but it's what inside their bodies and minds that's very different. Yeah, so I guess it makes sense that I would see this place through your Tilan's eyes, Jace said. Yes, these are memories that are surfacing from deep within my memory banks. They are fragmentary, but with your help, I'm able to string them together, she said. I'm not really aware of doing any of that, he admitted. Feel that fiddling sensation in your mind like when you would work puzzles with your dad? She pointed out. Oh, yeah. So that's okay. I understand now. Yes. He looked around. He was standing in front of a sink. The water had turned off automatically. As he drew closer to the sink again, air blasted the water from his face. He closed those large green eyes and held one of those slender arms up to block the air. It just blew harder. What the hell? It's the automatic system, silly, Gehenna giggled. The Osiris put towels in your bathrooms because you like those, but these are more efficient and make less waste. They blow germs around, according to Mom, Jace said as the dryer turned off. The human versions do, but see the light? That blasts any pathogens that come out, she said, drawing his attention to the lights on the wall. Those weren't the only things on the wall. There was a wicked-looking Rahir with a glowing blue blade and a Drogvas that looked ready to blow anything away, decorated with red lights. You had weapons on you back then? He asked. No, I'm certain I did not. These are for you, she said. Remember that the bad code will likely appear as physical enemies that we must fight. Right, so I need weapons, Jay said as he took them off the wall, finding that both were easily attached to his back, as if he were wearing a hard suit. Aren't people going to wonder about them? Likely not, as we're going through memories, and they won't be there for the memories, she said. Okay, let's get out of this bathroom. Yeah, that's what this is. He turned towards the door, and it whooshed open, and he stepped into a bedroom. He recognized some of the architecture of the base, but most of it was hidden under swaths of colorful tapestries, silks, and velvet-like hangings, intricate rugs, and more. There was a round bed on the floor that was piled high with pillows and delicate sheer curtains surrounding it. Low lights ringed the top and bottom of the walls, which gave the room a cozy feel. There were spinning holograms, which Jace recognized as workstations that Tilan could usually work on the Osiris and the Rogue AI. Clothes were piled in corners, shoes and boots were thrown everywhere, as if Tilan came in regularly and just kicked her footwear off and collapsed on her bed, face first into the ocean of pillows. She likely worked herself to the bone in order to get the pilot project working. Maybe she knew she had little time, or she was desperate to shed her own skin, and felt she could only do so after she finished this, Jace thought. A little of both, I think, Gehenna agreed. This looks to be mostly her things, yet Pelin was her lover. At that moment, they heard a sound from an adjoining room. Jace walked over to another door that was mostly hidden by rose-colored hangings. The door whooshed open, blowing the hanging back, and he was blinded for a moment. But then he saw the room beyond and the person waiting there. He was taller than Tilan by about 4 inches, with broad shoulders and a tall forehead with brushed back red hair that contrasted against the rich purple skin. Altaith come in all colors, I guess, Jace thought. That's Pelin. He looks mad, upset, Gehenna whispered, as if afraid that Pelin could hear them. Jace entered the adjoining chamber that appeared to him to contain a sitting area, dining room, and some form of kitchen, but it was far different than a human kitchen. Pelin was leaning forward with his hands braced in an island where there were several chairs. He imagined that they ate on the island. His head lifted and eyes, a dark red, stared at him or her, and there was no smile on either face. Is it true? Pelin's voice was low, melodious. Jace found himself moving past Pelin to a panel in the wall, which opened and revealed bottled juices. He took one out and drank it instead of answering, except he wasn't controlling this at all. Tilan must have done this. A rough hand on his shoulder had Tilan spinning around and stepping back, eyes narrowing. Hell yeah, he doesn't get to touch you like that, Jace cheered her on. I told you not to come near me, Pelin, Tilan hissed. Her voice was surprisingly smoky instead of the girlish squeak he expected out of this slender form. Pain sparked in Pelin's red eyes. How could you ask it of me? How can you stand to be apart? We are mated. Jace felt his heart shatter at this. Were Tilan and Pelin mated, like he and Khoth were? But how could Pelin touch her like that? He could never touch Khoth like that, and Khoth would never touch him like that. Pelin, we were never meant for one another. You know that. Few of our people find their meant one anymore. Tilan sounded incredibly bitter. They were likely killed by the Cool or by their own hands before they ever laid eyes on one another. We turned to each other because there was no one left. Jace felt a mixture of relief that this was not a true mate relationship, but sadness if what Tilan said it was true. You behave as if speaking of a myth of long ago times, yet your own pilot was truly mated. Pelin's eyes flared with that pain again. Yes, and he is gone, Tilan reminded him. She remains alive only for their daughter and the promise of the program. She wants her daughter to grow up in a very different universe, one where she might have the chance to find the one for her. You act as if what we have means nothing to you. Pelin shook his head. Tilan let out a sad laugh and touched her forehead as if she had a headache, but her next words indicated a heartache. You were the one to step away from what we had, Pelin, when you would not support the program. He thumped his chest. I will not support more war. No, you would support genocides instead. Tilan's chest was heaving. The seeded species would not exist but for us, and now we demand that they give us something in return, Pelin said with a proud shake of his head. Tilan stared at him, her mouth open slightly. Even though he could not see her expression, he could feel the disbelief and horror in it from the movement of the muscles. They owe us nothing. Tilan's voice was a raw whisper. Pelin, they are autonomous beings. They have every single right to live as we do. Even if we took some role with them as something other than equals, we are their parents. And you would have us sacrifice our children? Pelin crossed his arms tightly over his chest. We do not have a choice. But we do. The program is nearly finished. So it is true, he stared at her. You are close to starting yet another war. Another war? When did the last one stop? I don't recall there being any peace accords or a victory parade by us or the Cool. She laughed sourly. The war has never stopped, Pelin. The Cool still pick us off. Your pilot program will amp things up to another level. The Cool stay at the edges of our space. But if we go to their home world, then this ends. It truly ends. We kill their queens. We cripple them, she said, and the words sounded like the ones she had argued many, many times. It's a theory, Tilan. We don't know if that will work. They could have many homeworlds. They could breed queens in their hives. We bring the war to them then. If we do nothing, we bring the war to them. And we show them no mercy, like they've shown us. Her hands balled into fists. Or it could end now with a simple agreement between us and the Cool. Certainty. We can build up our species again. We can concentrate on something other than war, Pelin said. A simple agreement. How do you know the Cool would agree to this? Telon asked, exasperated and clearly not expecting him to answer. But Pellin's gaze twitched away from hers, and suspicion flooded her voice. What do you know, Pellin? What could I know? He did not look at her. I don't know, but you certainly are acting as if. Pellin, please tell me that you haven't done something, she pleaded. I've done nothing, he said, but still avoided her eyes. She remained there for a few moments, studying him. Telon, he's totally lying. He's done something, Jace growled. Yes, he is showing all the signs of deception, Gehenna agreed. All right. Well, I cannot speak more now, she said suddenly. I have work to do. She turned abruptly on her heel and made to leave the quarters. Pellin called after her when she reached the door. You don't want to be on the wrong side of history, Telon. She paused as the door opened and said, I'm sure of where I'm standing, Pellin. Are you? Even as the door closed, she was already sending a communique on her comm to someone in security. Investigate Pellin Czar. I believe he may be a traitor. Okay, that's the end of 112. I just decided to do it all the way to the end. Okay, what do we got here? What do we got here? You know, Raythe, there is so much content uploaded that YouTube can't police it all. But since we already got hit, those channels I think that have gotten hit, not for a violation, I think we're put on an extra level of security so that if we do something, it's like more problematic. I was a little bit, I think. Although the Matrix is like depressing, but this is like, but definitely, I was definitely influenced by the Matrix. Yeah, I know. Goo and yeah, I know. I know. I love it. Yes, he put a little cat face. He did it. It's so cute. Yes, Matrix meet Tron, but with less sentient beings a little bit. Yes, heart of my heart, Patrick. That's what he says. Let's see here. David said something that I couldn't recall. How long ago had the Altair disappeared? It's been thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, I think. A long, long, long time. I know, right? They got intense between Chelan and Pellin, damn it. We hope you are doing well, Lady Jean. Let's see here. Patrick says, my mom found a Star Trek episode that reminded her of the Osiris and Jace. The episode is called Tin Man, about a hypersensitive betazoid that made a psychic link with a living ship, Tin Man. Weirdly, I missed that Star Trek episode. I've heard about it, but yeah, I'm like, I personally want my own AI. I think it would be awful, awful cool. It's so funny, right? I mean, I just got Diet Coke on me. I just didn't mean to do that. I'm so glad you did. Yeah, it's just like really and truly like Star Trek looked at so many cool ideas. Like they had so many cool ideas. Like I think of Empire Stars as a cross between Star Trek and oh my god, I'm blanking on the video game that I love so much with Commander Shepard. Oh god. Okay, hi Raythe. I'm late because my dad came over to change my tires. Well, you have a very nice father. He's a very good thing. They got to get him in their crosshairs, man. Yes, it does. It very does. Yeah, you're right, because I have to make it consistent with human history too. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. It's amazing what you don't really think about to make things work. And like, it's like, yeah, how is this going to happen? Unless they were there when, these people were, basically like, you know, uh, uh, monkeys. So it's like a Mass Effect. Thank you, Summer. I'm having a problem with words today. I do not know why. It's just like I'm just having problems speaking. It's like God, it's the worst. I don't understand it. Very interesting. I think I'm just like burnt out. Oh, for those of you who haven't, I totally recommend the Fallout TV show. It was awesome. Today, after we do this, I'm going to take a nap, and then, quite frankly, I'm going to play Fallout 3 for a while, just to give my first some time off. All right, what do we got going? Let's go on to the next thing. All right, let's go on to the next chapter. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. You know, I didn't even update the front page to show this schedule today. That's good. Yeah. I'm just not having a moment. I'm having a moment. Okay. Let's continue. I think I just need to read the words I've already put down, so that's better. God. Ah. All right. Chapter 113. Glitch. The hallways of the compound looked different in the past than they did now. Now they were stripped down to bare floors, walls, and ceilings, empty and cold. But in the past, the hallways were filled with color and life. Brilliantly colored rugs, woven of strange materials, covered the floors. Holograms streamed different images on the walls and ceilings. In parts, the ceilings looked like alien night skies. Gracefully spinning planets surrounded by smaller moons rotated above Tilan. There were waving grasslands projected onto the walls where animals glided between the dark green, purple, or red grasses. There were delicate forests of bamboo like material and mountain peaks so sharp that they looked like they were piercing the night shrouded skies. The whole impression was peaceful, beautiful, and inviting. It was so real that it felt like Tilan was walking through these places. Gotta ask the Osiris if we could do something like this on the ship, Jace said. For sure, it's so cool, Gana agreed. Tilan, though, didn't seem to notice any of it. Perhaps because she had seen it so often, it made no impression on her. But Jace guessed it was because she was so anxious about what had happened with Pelin, and there was a pall around her. She wanted to leave this life. She wanted to kill herself. That was what uploading her personality, memories, and more would do. But it wouldn't be her that was placed in the cleaning bot body. It would be, at best, a copy. But she didn't seem to be planning on continuing on herself in the body she now had. Jace's heart was in his throat. This was the past. There was nothing he could do. She was long gone, far beyond any powers of persuasion. But his love for Gehenna told him that he would have loved Tilan too, and the thought that she had been in so much pain, felt so much despair, and was weary of life was like putting his hand into a bucket of acid and leaving it there as his flesh was eaten away. We don't know what she actually chose, Jace, Gehenna told him. I know that she uploaded herself into you, Jace said, but not the whole of her. It was clearly an abridged process done in haste in an emergency, Gehenna reminded him. She didn't create me because she was determined to die, but so that everyone else could live. Jace held on to that, but they still didn't know what the upload process involved. Did it kill the person uploaded, or were they simply able to walk away afterwards? Tilan stopped walking in front of an image of a roaring waterfall. The water droplets were turned into what looked like a fiery spray as the sunlight hit the droplets at a perfect angle. But then the waterfall opened up. It was a doorway. Tilan strode inside without any acknowledgement of the shocking beauty. I didn't even see the door there, Jace admitted. Neither did I, Gehenna said. She knew from her comm she was at the right place, though. But I'm betting that she's come here often enough that she knew just where the door was. Where is here? Jace asked. The uplink between the core and the ship, Gehenna told him. The room spanned over 100 feet across and was circular. A desert landscape was streamed around the walls and ceiling. There were dunes of dark red sand and a brilliant blue sky stretching above them. The only movement was the sand being blown in glittering waves from one dune to the next, and the squiggle of small lizard-like creatures burrowing into the mounds. Are those databases, like a ton of them? Jace asked as he took in what else was in the room. I think so. It would take ever so many to contain the whole of the pilot program, Gehenna told him. In concentric circles surrounding a central raised platform were rows upon rows of floating databases, illuminated in different colors. The boxy databases levitated and turned within the cones of light that originated from the floor and streamed upwards. The boxes slowly spun within these cones of light. Part of the databases would glitter as they received more of the light. Jace thought he saw runes or letters appearing in that glittering light. It's an exchange of information, Jace realized. The light contains the information and the databases translate it and store it. Wild. Tilan walked between a row of the databases. Her eyes scanned them, and she seemed pleased with what she saw. There were glowing connectors in the floor that went from one database to another. The colors changed and shifted, just like if Jace had splashed blue liquid into red and became purple. These connections flowed all the way to the Ray's central platform. The platform had a set of steps. It too was circular. A holographic image of the ship floated in the very center, while there were other holographic controls along the outside edge. That was where Tilan was heading. Half a dozen Altaith were milling around up there. One of them, an Altaith with obsidian-colored skin and flashing topaz-colored eyes, immediately greeted Tilan as she loped up the few steps to the top of the platform. They linked fingers and pressed their foreheads together. Jace felt a burst of warmth and realized that this other Altaith was greeting Tilan telepathically. Raythe, Tilan breathed. I saw your request about Helen, Raythe said with a shadowed look in her eyes. Has his objection to the project gone so far? I don't know, Tilan answered as she moved from one over to one of the holographic controls and swished her fingers expertly through the images. That's why I'm having him checked. Are you going to ask that he be banned? Raythe asked as she stepped up beside Tilan. Tilan let out a breath. I suppose that would be a logical step. Even if he simply objects to our work and is doing nothing wrong now, that doesn't mean he won't do something more tangible than arguing with me about it in the future. We're so close to being ready to launch, Raythe said quietly, with a careful glance around them to see if anyone was listening too carefully. Soon, it won't matter what he does. Won't it, Raythe? Tilan lifted an eyebrow. Telling the Cool of our plans would make the pilot's job that much more difficult to reach the potential cool homeworlds. Instead of being able to stealth in and out, every single location would lead to a battle. The pilot would be hunted ceaselessly. Raythe's brows drew together. Yes, that's very true. I realized I was being naive when I said that. I cannot believe that Pelin would betray us to that extent. I could not believe he would feel as he does now, Tilan admitted. He was the one who supported me through the early cycles of development. He was the one that got me to speak to the right people. This project would never have gotten off the ground if he hadn't helped me. For him now to turn his back, or worse, is still inconceivable. Raythe's topaz eyes searched Tilan's face. I think he supported you, Tilan, not the project. Tilan reached up and touched her forehead in a movement she had made before with Pelin, as if a headache was coming on. I believe you may be right, but that means his lack of support. His possible betrayal was stoppable if I had only... Only what? Raythe shook her head. You cannot feign feelings you do not have any longer. Oh, yes, you can, Tilan breathed. That had Raythe sighing. Not you. You can't do it. I did not even try. Maybe I should have. No, I know I should have, Tilan said. I keep thinking of all the tales my father would tell me of matched ones when I was a child. Raythe sighed again. She let a smile light up her handsome face. Can you imagine what it must have been like to truly meet one person who was perfect for you, body, mind, and soul? And it wasn't just a lucky few who found that, but almost all of us? I cannot. Tilan rubbed her forehead again. It seems more like a child's fairy story. When Jexa speaks of her matched one, it is magical, Raythe breathed. I listen to her stories as closely as her daughter will when she is old enough to understand them, but already they are being imprinted upon her. Stories are the only way she will know her father, Tilan remarked softly. Yes, yes. Raythe's shoulders hunched. And then there is the pain that Jexa must feel, as if something is eternally missing from her. We all have that sensation, a missing limb almost, a puzzle piece that allows cold air to sweep through us. Tilan continued. But she has known what it was like for that to be filled. Better to have never loved at all rather than to have loved and lost, Jace said. I don't think that's true. Do you, Jace? Gasana sounded so very different from Tilan at that point. Was that because she hadn't experienced all of Tilan's suffering? Or was she the part of Tilan that still wanted to have known that love, no matter what? Tilan, a voice that was rich with amusement and good humor, called. Oh, this is the wrong voice. Sorry, guys. I got to do that again. Tilan, a voice that was rich with amusement and good humor, called out from behind her. Tilan and Raythe swung around to face the central hologram where the image of the ship had hovered, but was now replaced with a woman who looked almost human. But more than that, she looked so much like Jace that he wouldn't have done a double tape, so that he wouldn't have done a double tape if he caught sight of her in the mirror. She even had the same short auburn hair as he did and the mischievous green eyes. Hers were slightly larger and her ears were more pointed. Her face was also a tad more fox-like, and she might have been a bit taller than he was, but he couldn't tell because only her head and shoulders appeared in the holographic image. Jace, that's Juxa, Jace breathed. Pilot Jexa, you look in a good mood today, Tilan said, and there was an honest smile in her voice for the first time. Her shoulders had released some of their tension, as if just hearing and seeing the pilot calmed her. Every day, Tilan, Jexa said with a beaming smile. Oh, Jace, she's just like you, even though she's lost her matched one, Gehenna whispered. She hasn't lost him, Jace found himself saying with certainty. They're just separated for now, but they'll be together again. The ship would like to go out on a mission, Jexa said with a twinkle in her eye. The ship? Tilan lifted an eyebrow. Well, the AI, my little helper, another twinkle. It won't allow me to name it. Tilan's forehead furrowed. It won't? Well, I can name it, but it won't respond unless I use the word ship to address it, Jexa chuckled. It is quite stubborn about it. Osiris, Jace laughed to himself. And it pretends as if it is the perfect tool when it is as tart and acerbic as always, Gehenna tisked. Raythe took up her right forearm and started to input something. We'll make a note of it. It's likely just some glitch in the test program. It certainly isn't going to be a problem with the final product. A glitch? Ooh, the Osiris wouldn't like its self-determination described like that. Jace chuckled again. Oh, I don't mind. I rather like it, Jexa said. It makes it seem like a real person, cranky in particular. We are looking for the perfect helpmate to you, pilot, Tilan gently observed. Cranky and particular are not exactly what we're going for, but Raythe is correct. That is undoubtedly a glitch that won't be in the final programming. To call the Osiris's desire to name itself a glitch is pretty awful in my book, Jay said. That's because you see us as people and not tools. Tilan was trying to augment Jexa, not provide her with a friend. Gehenna sounded sad as she said this. And the Altaith are not like humans in their ability to pack bond with most anything. Googly eyes on a toaster, Jace agreed. You give the Osiris to me far more leeway than any other Altaith would. Gehenna's sadness hadn't left. Yet some of them at least wanted to become the equivalent of AIs themselves, Jace pointed out. They did. So how were they going to differentiate between AIs like the Osiris and AIs like you? Jace asked. Gehenna was quiet for a moment before she asked, do you remember that anime you like so well, Ghost in the Shell? Yeah, absolutely. I think I know where you're going with this. That scene where the major asks what makes her partner or any human treat her, a cyborg, as human? I loved seeing the city reflected in the water while she talked about it, Jace said. It was so beautiful. Yes, but what she said was interesting. Was it only because people believed that she had some organic brain cells in her head that made her human? What if they weren't there? What if that was all a lie? How could something that couldn't even be seen by the person she spoke to every day matter in terms of how she was treated? Gehenna asked. Because that's not what made her human at all, Jace said. Or rather, having organic brain cells or not didn't make her a person. It was something far more substantial and yet intangible than that. Yes, but the Altaith in the past didn't want to consider that, Gehenna said. Machines served them. They were made of material other than flesh and blood. The Cool's tech is all organic, you see. So the Altaith didn't want to be similar. Ah, Jace realized where she was going with this. They wanted to combine it, but be different so that they were not like the Cool. Wounds from the ongoing battle with the Cool were so deep that they left traces everywhere. In the Altaith, art, philosophy, religion, everything, Gaina told him. It became so infused with reactions to the Cool that it became almost impossible to know what they were before the conflict. How can you parse out such an all-encompassing thing? You cannot. And it went on for so long that the time before the Cool became myth. Sounds really hard, Jay said quietly. It was, Gehenna said, sounding more like Tilan than before. So hard and heavy. To be shaped so fully by your enemy. It is sheer cruelty. Do you think the Cool had the same experience? Jace asked. Are they affected by all of this? From what I could tell, their way of doing things has not changed since encountering the Altaith. But we know so little of them, really, Gehenna admitted. We need to talk to the Verset about this. Their culture is more aligned with the Cool than with ours. Perhaps they have a different understanding of them, Jace noted for later. They both focused back on the conversation that Tilan, Rikita, and Jexa were having. The glitch had been fully written down to be dealt with later, but Tilan was curious what Jexa had meant when she said the ship wished to go on a mission. The ship must be reflecting your own feelings, pilot, Tilan said. I don't think so, though I wouldn't mind taking a tour around the nearby galaxies, Jexa admitted. The ship has a mission in mind, not a simple flight. To go after the Cool homeworlds, of course. No, Jexa interrupted and sliced a hand through the air as if to give more meaning to the difference. Tilan's forehead furrowed. Well, what does it want to do exactly? Strangely, it wants to go to one of the seeded species worlds, Jexa said with a faint look of confusion on her face. What? Why? Does it anticipate an attack on one of them? Tilan was rigid, and Jace guessed she worried that Pelin had betrayed them, or that some agreement had gone through to hand over the seeded species to the Cool. Not in the least. It's not even one of the species that's highly advanced yet. They've barely left the trees, Jexa admitted with confusion. They don't know anything about spaceflight. They don't have any understanding of their place in the universe. Then why would it wish to go there? Tilan asked. Jexa gave an uncertain laugh. It says that this species is the appropriate mix of violent and tribal to ensure a victory against the Cool. Violent? Tilan's eyes widened. Well, I suppose crew members that are willing to fight for one another are invaluable. Yes, in some ways, the fact that they are closer to their baser instincts is actually a good thing, Jex continued. They will not hesitate to defend themselves, and they have an us against them dichotomy that will serve us well against the Cool. So, no one is going to suggest making friends with them, Tilan murmured. On the contrary, once they see an enemy, they remember them as an enemy, Jexa explained. It's a less civilized position than what others have taken, but in a war, it may be exactly what we need, Tilan added. And there's something about them. A sense of wonder, of hope. It's hard to explain. When they look up into the skies, while they know danger may look there, they also see the possibility of them, Jexa said. She shook her head. It sounds very romantic of me, but I can't remember the last time I looked up at the stars with anything less than dread. Is she talking about humanity? Gehenna asked. I think she is. The Osiris picked us from the beginning, Jay said. Well, having any seeded species in the mission, especially one so primitive, will never happen, Rikita huffed. The AI is so out of its depth to suggest such a thing. That is definitely a glitch. No, it isn't. The Osiris is beyond what they ever thought it could be. They don't see it, Jace said frustratedly. Tilan had begun to scroll through the Osiris's code and databases. Her forehead furrowing was growing greater. I see no record here of any decision tree process that would have led to this mission. It's kept its plans secret, Juxa explained, on a need-to-know basis. Tilan's head snapped up. Secret? From me? Juxa shifted almost uncomfortably. Yes, in fact, I'm not sure that I should explain further over this open line. Tilan and Raythe exchanged worried glances. Juxa put a hand to her temple as if hearing something. Her eyes flashed a brilliant blue, and Jace knew that she was communicating with the Osiris. We most definitely have to deactivate this training AI. Raythe sounded alarmed. It's doing things that it shouldn't even be able to do. Keeping secrets? It's supposed to simply assist you to access the ship's functions and intruders. Jex's voice was sharp. Her eyes narrowed. 24 hives have entered the system. We are under attack. And that is the end of 113. Okay. So Jaker Dawnstar says, Raythe, your world building is fantastic. The space theme world in Empire of Stars and the Abyss is so good. Just got done reading book 1 of the Abyss. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. Monkey, you're late, but don't worry. We'll post this up so anyone can listen to it later. Lady Jean says, thank you for your readings. They always make my day and are a big part of my antidepressant routine. Well, I'm so glad they are. That's so awesome. I'm honored. Small Alien says, man, I feel bad for Tilan. I do too. I really, really do too. We are not alone. Arlesia thinks it too. I had a thought. What if Juxa and her mate are Jace's parents? I should clarify. I've only read close to chapter 120. Juxa is Jace's, you mean like reborn? Like, that's a good, now I'm all intrigued. I didn't think about that. Huh. I did not say what date Equinox will start. I'm still tinkering on the schedule for next month, Ness. So it's going to be, I don't know if I want to do it later in the month or earlier in the month. Right now I'm thinking later, but I don't know. But it's definitely next month. It's in May. I think it's like, no, not the cliffhangers. But it is a good cliffhanger, yes. It did, because Pelin wasn't there to just talk to Tilan. Let's put it this way. Let's see. Those chapters are amazing. Thank goodness they have Osiris 1.0. I mean, Jace is not a reincarnation of Juxa. He's a different person. I think that they were suggesting that Jace's parents are not Pelin, but Tilan are Juxa and her mate. So Jace is not a reincarnation of Juxa. No, he is not. He is a descendant of Juxa. Juxa is his ancestor. Is his ancestor. I know, like the Osiris, they really didn't fully understand what it was capable of, I think. I mean, clearly they didn't. So it was definitely, and it was useful. It's the Osiris identified threats way before they did. And it was doing its own research and to fulfill its mission. And unlike the rogue AI, which was to be a helpmate and not really its own person, the Osiris is its own person and it thinks differently than Jace, which is good. I mean, that's what you want. I think both, Gehenna, Jace, and Osiris all have different viewpoints, and therefore this will be a strength rather than a weakness about how you approach a problem, in this case the Cool, or any other problems after that. So that's what I think, versus they made the rogue AI more a tool. You know what I mean? Like a tool it helps you, but it doesn't add to your thinking process. It doesn't pressure check your ideas. It merely supports you. And so I think that's what's so much better about this Osiris. And I think that it's just like, unexpected consequences. They had never made an AI this powerful, and they didn't realize, like, with the mind link and how that would all change everything. And it really did change a lot of things. So yeah. So it's like, wah. These are fun. These are fun chapters. I forgot all of this. I didn't forget all of it, but I mean, rereading it is a lot of fun to like experience this again, because this is like cool to see what happened in the past. It's like awesome, especially as we're nearing the end, man. Yeah, it is our Osiris. Yeah, it's an adaptive AI. Initially programmed, but then able to grow. And then in how it's grown and all this kind of stuff has made it unique and its own person. And again, that's just like, when Davies talked about the 10th man, like in Israel's like, thought process, like they had a 10th person that was to disagree with if all the rest of the 9 basically were to agree. This is like, to anticipate something different. That's what this is. That's idea of the 10th man. So I think that's the idea that all of them have different viewpoints, and then they all work together towards a common goal once they come to that conclusion, but they don't just rubber stamp Jace's ideas. Another chapter, please. I wish. My voice is not, I'm like, the throat is really tight today. I don't even know why. More to come, David. I promise. This is really awesome. The more I think about it, the more I can see an argument for Jack or Diane being a reincarnation of Jexa personality wise. Yeah. And like, and them having their mate again. I think that would just be a nice thing to just feel like, that she did get that happy ending, I guess, which would be nice to think about. I mean, they couldn't know for sure, but it would just be indicated that maybe that's what happened. Just because I feel like, especially when we find out what happens coming up, it's really hard to say. So this is like a good thing. But okay, just to remind everybody, next week there is another live stream at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please come to that. On Friday, there will be a big announcement on Raythe Rain, which will be awesome. I can't wait to share it all for you. So I'm definitely going to be here next week. Patrick, Osiris definitely jumped the gun. Yeah, it did things that they didn't anticipate, because they never made one like the Osiris before. And so they thought they had plugged all the holes, but in fact, they found its way around it. I think that's how that goes. Yeah. So next week, big thing coming. Please try to show up for the live stream. If definitely, that would be really, really important. Members are going to get something really fun starting next Friday. Cannot wait. Everdark Equinox starts next month. So if you ever had been inclined or could sign up for Raythe Rain, now is like a brilliant time to sign up. You'll get a lot of value coming up. So if you can, great. We just appreciate you listening, obviously, and being here. Also, could you please, you're on YouTube, could you like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already? Please like the video. Also on Facebook, could you like it, and do whatever you can on Twitch just to like it, so that so the algorithm knows that you enjoyed it. It's really important. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. It's amazing. Yes, you will get an email about next Friday and Saturday's reading. Yes, if you are a member, you will get it. Yes, you will. You will absolutely be told about it, and there will be an update. I will be more with it next week. I promise. I have to be. So I will let you guys go for now, but this was really spectacular. As always, I love being with you guys. Hugs. Next week, remember, let's get together next week. We're getting together next week. Take care, you guys.